Here we are together again. Russ is in Saskatchewan, and as we're taping this, it's like Grey Cup week, so I'm sure the whole town and city is going
Mhm.
crazy. And I'm sitting in cold Toronto where there's snow on the ground, and this is a little early, and Cathy is
Not.
in the sunshine. That's what we wanted to talk about. Well, she's doing her pre-trial, her pre-Olympic trials
Yeah.
research in the sunny suns of Palm Springs. I don't know.
Yeah.
On the golf course, thinking
Yeah.
about shots that are going to be made in next week. But we're all getting ready to gather in Halifax. And before we do that, though, we wanted to touch on the pre-trials because we didn't really get a chance to talk about that. And Cathy, you've been hearing that perhaps, just we're not certain on
Yeah.
this, but perhaps the discuss, and we should have the discussion that this may have been the last pre-trials.
Yeah. You know what? I think that Curling Canada is always trying to tweak the system, and props to them. I think back to when I was trying to qualify for the Olympic trials, and it was yet to win certain bonspiels, and now they've gone to points. So we want our best teams. There's no doubt. And I'm definitely hearing rumors that the pre-trials may be on the way out. However, I think what I saw in Wolfville was some incredible curling. And it is a feeder system. If you take a look at the final two teams in the men's, for example, Braden Calvert and Jordan McDonald, two teams that have great success in juniors, still trying to find their way to segue to a top men's team. And if you don't give those teams the opportunity, 4 years from now, when those are the teams that we're looking at, they're going into a trials process completely unprepared.
Russ, there's also the whole fact that we've had, and we've talked about it on this show, is it takes a big commitment financially, time-wise, everything to get yourself up to a level where you can get into a trials where you are at a Gushu or a Jacobs right now, right? And these young teams, they need some incentive, I think, to keep going, don't they?
100%. And it's back in the day when you had a farm system for the hockey teams, and that's been our advantage all along, in my opinion. We've got the depth. If you allow all these teams to pyramid up to the top, to that rarefied air, you're going to have a good representative. And Jacques, its team, McDonald is a good example. But to take it one step farther, if we get rid of the pre-trials, Brad Jacobs doesn't have a gold medal for our country.
Yeah.
He came through that system. Now, you see a lot of other countries now, Japan, for instance, their men's, their women's, and their mixed doubles, they only allowed 3 teams into the playdowns. So their concept is double round robin. Then you have a best 2 to 3 kind of thing. You're going to probably get the best representative like we're doing. And then worst case happens, the third ranked team wins the country. It's still a good team. But and then you go to Scotland where they, hey, you're going because we
Yeah.
like you. Everybody's got a different system, Cap.
Yeah.
Right? Like look at Ross White. The guy's won the country 2 years in a row. So you can pick holes in all these systems, but I'm with Cathy in this one. We have to keep the feeder system going. And who's going to replace Nicholas Sedin at this point in time? Nobody.
Huge.
Right.
No one.
So at least we've got somebody coming up. Look at Dunstone, for instance.
Yes.
He's come through the ranks, and now he's right there knocking on the door.
All right, we've got in the men's and the women's side, when we do have all these teams that are qualified, they're going to be in Halifax, and it's an interesting kind of, I guess, a bit of a dichotomy. I think the men's has a little bit of a more open field than in terms of favorites. I'm not saying that anyone's assured win, but and then you've got the women's side where Team Holman has just been rolling over things. I don't know if we want to start there, but I mean, 35-6 is her record this year. They've won 3 slams. Their last a few starts. Well, their starts this year: third, first, second, first, first, first. And I don't know, Cathy, how does someone not only beat them, but how does somebody get another team? And some of these teams are younger, but some of them are experienced in the women's side. How do they get over the intimidation factor or the how do we beat Rachel's team factor?
It's really tough. I think you just have to go out there and just play the rocks and not Rachel Homan. And I think that you need to remind yourself that more than any time in our history, there is more pressure on one team because they have been so dominant. And for Rachel Homan, who has played at the top of the game, and there was a time no one could beat Silvana Tirinzoni. Now that's all that she does. So what will she do against teams that are not as skilled. No disrespect meant to are the Canadian teams that are in it, but they're not Silvana Tirinzoni. So what do? Well, they throw a whole lot of rocks in play. And I feel that the only risk to Rachel is to get caught up in somebody else's strategy, leaving too many rocks in play and not playing her game. And just that pressure, it can do tremendous amounts of things. But for Rachel Homan and her team, they are so physically, mentally, technically prepared. I would be extremely surprised if she's tested.
Russ, you were on an underdog team with Brad Guzzo, and you came through and beat a big team in Kevin Martin, and I don't know, and through that whole time, what was it like for you to go through, and do you see other teams being able to do that? Is it just sort of as Cathy suggests, maybe you play the Rocks and you get a great break? I mean, the finals this year are 2 out of 3, so that 1-game win is a little different this year. How does an underdog team do it?
I think it's all attitude. In our case, we got very, very lucky. Brad's team was so young, and then they put the old fossil in from Moncton. Nobody really gave us a chance, and I think that played to our advantage. We kind of went in with, we're playing with house money, let's give it a try. We're playing Glenn Howe, we're not supposed to beat him. We win a close game, and then you get on a roll, But I think when you get to the end of it, it's a different animal, and Cathy can speak to that too, is you get a chance on Sunday afternoon to be an Olympian for the first time ever in my case, last time ever in my case. And I truly believe, and I don't want to throw Brad under the bus, but they were so young. They knew they had 4, 5, 6 kicks at the can. I didn't. And I think there's a little bit less pressure on them, and it allowed them to perform that much better. They were great players to begin with. But in the case of Rachel, she's had 2 tough Olympics.
Yeah.
For her standards. So I think she's ultra motivated to get a medal for our country of any color. And I'd be absolutely very happy for our country if she could get any color medal. But it's the old story, Bobby. You'll remember this. I remember Tiger Woods had like a 5-shot lead into a tournament, and they interviewed the guy who was in second place. And they said, "Hey, pal, what do you have to shoot tomorrow to beat Tiger?" He said, "I have to shoot Tiger." Yeah, right. That's how good Holman is. And I just, as long as they don't get in their own way, as long as they're not worried about the rocks and the ice, I don't see them losing.
But you know what, Bob? The one thing I will put in there is the advice I would give to any team playing Rachel Homan is get to 8. If you can get to 8 tied, that is rarefied air for Rachel. She's used to dominating teams, and all of a sudden, that pressure that comes from being so tight, that is a bit of an unknown. So for Carrie Enerson, the team that clearly is the team that's going to push her, don't sell the farm in the first 4 ends. Make good choices, make good decisions, keep it close.
Yeah. And on that point, Cathy, just to interrupt, on that point, we've had a pile of upsets in the Olympic trials.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were ranked 9th. We won it. Randy Furby qualified for the Halifax trials 4 times. Didn't have a winning record. The next best team was Kevin Martin, who had a phenomenal team. Didn't have a winning record. The great Colleen Jones was the favorite on the women's side. It didn't have a winning record. You can go through and through. Mike Harris was a bit of an upset. We were an upset. It goes on and on and on. So it's, as much as Holman should win, it's not in the oven yet.
No, that's for sure. If you were going to put a second favorite on there, if you were going to put someone on there, is it Enerson? Is that the team, Cathy, that's got the best chance of knocking her off at this point?
Yeah, for me, I'd say yes. They've had a bit of an up and down season, I would say, but I think that their focus is so much on the trials. I expect them to show up big time.
Okay. Let's move over to the men's side and a little tighter there. I think you've got 4 of the top 10 teams in the world in Dunstone, Jacobs, McEwen, Epping. Brad Guzzo's there. He's not had a great year, but we know what he's capable of. Russ, where do you think this one spills out, and is it just too tight to call at this point?
Well, you asked me this the last time, and I had it down to 5 teams. So I've had time, so I've whittled it down a little bit. But there's some caveats in there. I think if you put a gun to my head, I'd say Matt Dunstone's going to come through. But he just hasn't been able to come through in the big events by one shot. Like they played the Brier final, they were the better team, didn't win it. last week in the slam. They were probably the better team, didn't win it. He's just found a way to lose, so that's uncomforting if you're putting big money on him. But I think they're playing better than anybody. And the key thing with him is, if you're going to guess at the two finalists on performance alone, it's Dunstone Jacobs. He's beaten Jacobs 4 times in a row.
Yeah, yeah, it's tight. Cathy, what do you make of the field?
Well, I think that, so much of our focus keeps talking about Jacobs because more than any team in history, this was a team that, changed sort of how we deal with players and said, this is what we're doing. We're chasing our Olympic dream. This is the best team that we can do. Are they good? Absolutely. But again, when you get to the trials, if your team is solely built for this, not for building, not for winning briars, but solely built for this, that can add a lot of pressure. I think the two people that we're not talking enough about are one of them that Russ just talked about, Matt Dunstone. The other one is John Epping. He is maybe not the most technically beautiful delivery that you've ever seen, but the 3 guys in front of him are solid, 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 and they've given John confidence. And John's a shooter. There's no doubt about it. And that's one of those teams. The other team to me that no one's talking about is Mike McEwen. That is a very, very good team. And if Colton Flash catches fire, look out. I think the focus is so much on Brad, because Gushue is never to be discounted, that we're forgetting those other 3 teams that are going to be knocking on the door loud.
Russ, you won a gold medal with Brad Gushue, and what do you make of his team this year? And does he seem like maybe I mean, I know he's focused on it, but does he have the horses to get it over the line?
Yeah, I think he does. I think, again, you wouldn't put a lot of money on him at this point. He's ranked 5th in this field, in my humble opinion. And there's only 8 teams. So, but if Brad Gushue shows up in the best 2 out of 3 to go to the Olympics, how do you bet against him? He's got 3 guys that are Olympians that have proved themselves. The only outlier, I guess you'd call it, is Botcher, thank you, Brendan Botcher, who skipped and won a Briar and skipped and came second in the Briar 3 times. So if that's your weak link, you're looking at a pretty good team. So, but I would think it's harder for Gushue to make the playoffs because of the way he's playing. But once he makes the playoffs,
yeah,
it's even money. It really is, Bob. And I mentioned earlier before we got on the telecast here that making the playoffs isn't that hard because there's only 8 teams. You just have to come 3rd. So you could go 4-3, for instance. Some of the years in New Brunswick, a 3-4 team got in. So Gushue sneaks in at 4-3. Look out.
Well, I also will throw onto that. Sorry, Bob, to what Russ said is that one thing we know about Brad Gushue is that he embraces the crowd like no other skip. He rises to an occasion. This event is in Halifax. There will be so much Atlantic Canada Eastern support for him. They may carry him through some games that maybe he has no business being carried through.
100%.
Okay, give me your thoughts on a best of 3 final. Yes or no, Cathy? Do you like it?
Oh yeah, I do. Given a sudden death 1 game, if you can beat your opponent twice, I'm a little worried about the semifinal. But when it gets to the final, I think we're going to get our best rep out of the 2 that are there.
Russ?
Yeah, exactly. It's in my humble opinion, don't tell anybody this, but it's the Rachel Homan rule. Right? I think they've gone, look at the last trials. Tracy Fleury went 8-0. She was the best skip by 7%. Lost in an extra end to go to the Olympics. Bang, see you later. Not that we didn't have a good rep in Jennifer Jones, but 1 game curling, you know what it's like. So I love it. I love it a lot. But Cathy brought up a good point there. We're thinking it's all for Rachel. What if she loses to Anderson 6-5 in the round robin game? They tie at the end of the week. Anderson gets the bye. Holman's in the sudden death semifinal against somebody and doesn't even make the final.
Yeah, that's something to think about.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, there's lots going. And finally, is this the hardest event in curling to win?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Tougher than the Worlds.
I think so. I know the teams. I understand when you look at the slams, for example, There were 3 women in the entire field. Only one qualified from Canada. In the men, we did much better. We had 4 teams that qualified. But to me, it is the stakes. It is the chance to be an Olympian that makes this tougher than being a world champion is an amazing feeling. But being an Olympian, wow.
Russ, you've been both. What's sweeter, gold medal
Oh
or
yeah, Cathy's dead on. Like, you're probably. I look at Dunstone, who's just blossoming now at age 30. You're probably prime years or 25. Boucher somehow did it at 25 to maybe 45. You get 20 years, maybe 15 great years.
Yeah.
You might only get, depending on the calendar, you might only have 3, possibly 4 chances in your life to become an Olympian. So when you get to Halifax, it's a totally different pressure.
Well, we'll be watching you two and Vic and of course the rest of the team out there, and it's going to be a great week in Halifax. Thanks for your time today, folks.
You bet, Bob.